Longmont, Golden Eagle, departing runway 29 to the south, Longmont.
Thanks, Golden Eagle.
No problem. Pray for us. Pray for us.
Longmont traffic. Skyhawk 6 Golf, taxiing 29 RV Alpha.
Longmont traffic, Golden Eagle, departing the pattern off the crosswind to the south, Longmont. Technique. Been flying for over 18 years. But this is actually our first opportunity to fly together by ourselves in this airplane, our Cessna 421, since purchasing it. So we decided to try something a little different today for our videos. We went to a flying seminar once when a woman mentioned that her husband had become incapacitated and was no longer able to fly the airplane. And what trick did she tell us about how to allow her to keep flying the airplane?
Well, while he was unconscious, he kept leaning forward and putting pressure on the controls with his body weight. And so finally, to get him out of the way, she used her purse strap and wrapped it around his head and tied him back against the headrest to keep him out of the way and his body off of the controls while she tried to manage landing that airplane.
Eastbound.
And there we have the feminine genius.
That's right. Women are very smart. Feminine genius indeed.
For those of us lucky enough to fly pressurized airplanes, the proximate cause of pilot incapacitation may actually be hypoxia. Maybe the airplane is depressurized or there's some contamination in the air or something like that. So in that case, you want to get the aircraft back down to the ground very quickly, or at least get it below 14,000 feet. We are going to demonstrate an almost universal procedure to get an airplane back on the ground. Now remember, the goal is to crash softly, not land perfectly.
1898.
Navigation and finding a suitable airport may be the hardest part. Hopefully your moving map has airports shown on it, and I recommend flying towards any blue airport. So for example, this is the Colorado Springs Airport, or today we're going to the Pueblo Airport. Note that they're both blue. That means they have control towers, generally longer runways, and perhaps some crash rescue services.
So to find a blue airport, I would move the image around on the iPad until a blue one came into view.
That's correct, yep. On the Garmin 530 Navigator that we have, we actually don't have blue airports, but you can kind of see where you have some circles around airports, arcs. That tends to mean they're a bigger airport, again, with longer runways. The rudder pedals are not necessary for landing on the airplane. They can be used on the ground to steer it a little bit if necessary, but again, we're really not worried about that. If the airplane goes off in the weeds, most likely
that's a good day.
Very survivable, bring the aircraft to a stop, so nothing you need to do.
Okay, great. I just remembered there's this and this, and I just didn't know that all of it was controlled by this.
Right. Right. If it is on autopilot, I recommend leaving it there at least to start. If the pilot was talking to someone, I also recommend leaving the frequency alone. You can dial in 121.5, which is the general emergency frequency, but in general, a lot of people who are flying this class of airplane are talking to someone, and I recommend just using the radio that they're on. I also recommend that you put the landing gear out before you descend. So Beth, why don't you grab the landing gear handle there, pull it out and then down. I made sure we were below gear speed for this exercise, but the reality is that our 145 knot landing gear extension speed is based on the inner gear doors. And in the case of emergency, the gear doors are the least of your worries. So we're on autopilot. What we're going to wind up doing as we get closer to Pueblo is pointing the nose right at the end of the runway. You'll also want to find out in your airplane exactly what the right throttle setting is, and just set it and forget it. So in this case, I've got the throttles at maybe just a little below half, and I actually think for our purposes, we're going to want them just a little bit farther back than that, so maybe closer to almost a quarter open. So go ahead and pull it back there, Beth, just a little bit.
And am I leaving it uneven like this?
Yes, that's fine. In a multi-engine airplane, sometimes the controls aren't perfectly set up. There you go, that's good. I think that's pretty good. So that looks like about 22 or 23 inches. But again, you don't need to worry about your instruments at all. In fact, I recommend, if you feel like you need to look at an instrument, the only one I recommend is the airspeed indicator. Right there. And if you leave the airspeed indicator, the actual needle, somewhere in the middle of the white arc, you'll be okay.
Yeah, I see.
So in this airplane, that's between like 75 and 145 knots. You don't need to do anything, or you don't need to look at any instruments inside the airplane, but if you have to look at one, the airspeed indicator is the only one I recommend spending any time with. If you keep the needle in relatively near the center there, you'll be good. You won't be too slow, you won't be too fast.
Gotcha.
And then once we've set the throttles at this relatively low power setting, I'm going to have you not touch the power controls until you've touched down, because it will cause a gnarly pitch change at the last minute. We don't want that. So there's a big red switch there for the autopilot. You can go ahead and hit that, turn that off.
Where's the airport before I turn that off, please?
It's off to our left here.
Clear takeoff 8 right, 311.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Descent in the brake, follow company ahead. They'll be braking at the departure end.
It beeps a lot to tell me
It
it's off?
does, yep.
Okay.
Telling you it's off.
Gotcha.
So they've asked us to fly to a 4-mile left base, which is actually a good approach for you. It gives you some time to line up as well.
Okay. 4 miles away, that's what that means?
That's right.
Holding your 44 Golf, continue present heading. I'll call your base turn. You're going to be following an Army copter on a 6-mile final.
Understood. 44 Golf, present heading.
Army helicopter lands first, then us?
Right.
And he's 6 miles away?
Yes. We're just going to fly this heading for a little bit more, and then they'll turn us in on a base, which is that 90-degree leg to the runway when we're kind of flying
Tiger 57 offset south.
perpendicular to the runway.
Correction, Tiger 57, offsetting to the south.
And who else called Pueblo Tower?
Tiger 02, initial request descent.
Tiger 02, descent approved, follow company ahead.
Tiger 02, descent approved, follow company.
Cessna 41 Sierra, wind 120 at 7, gust 14, runway 8 right, clear to land.
Right, clear to land, 412.
So my instinct here is when they say, you know, maintain a heading, is I'm kind of looking, I see a little short tower out there,
Sure.
and I'm just kind of finding that's in my way already and flying at it.
Yep, that's a great idea.
Okay.
Again, don't get enamored by the instruments, just fly it visually as best you can. You're doing a great job right now.
That little tower guy's getting under my nose though, so now I need to look a little farther out, right?
Sure, yep, that's fine. Especially here in Colorado, you can pick one of those mountain peaks to fly towards.
Great idea. They don't move.
Lear 3 Sierra Lima, contact departure.
Departure, 3 Lima.
Tiger 25, you're going to be following an H60 on a 5 mile final. Report him inside.
Tiger 25, we'll go negative contact.
The Pueblo airspace is quite busy. The Air Force uses it.
4 Golf, start your base turn.
Base turn now for 4-4 Golf. Okay, Beth, why don't you go ahead and make that 90-degree left turn now towards the power plant out here.
02, left 360.
Tiger 57, make a left 360.
Tiger 57, left 360.
Very busy here because the Air Force uses this as a initial pilot training area for pilots before they go on to fly Air Force aircraft. They get their pilot's license, at least get to solo here. All right, Beth, you're doing a great job.
That felt like 90.
Maybe lower the nose just a little bit there. Keep the airplane kind of coming downhill.
Okay, everybody at home, that lower the nose a little bit actually looked like lower the nose a lot. I was trying to keep the nose kind of even with the horizon, but when he said that, now it looks...
a Katana and right downwind.
Looking for the Katana, 4-4 Golf. Okay,
let's
level the wings.
Contact ground point enter.
Try to find this other guy here.
Tiger 25, extended base.
He's going to be over there at about 11 o'clock.
120 at 6 gust 14,
A little closer in.
Tiger 25, clear to land, runway right.
Only 44 Golf, wind 120 at 6 gust 14, runway 8 right, clear to land, number 3.
Clear to land number 3, 4-4 Golf.
Can you help me see the runway now?
Yeah, so it's out there at our 9:30, 10 o'clock. Runs east-west. We're going to land to the east.
Are we low enough?
We're low enough right now, and what we're going to have you do is point the airplane down at the ground.
No, I hate
point
that.
the airplane down at the runway, rather.
No, I hate that part.
Okay.
Tiger 57,
am I turning now?
Going to be
Yes,
number 3
good.
sequence now,
Shallow
5
turn.
Eagle, 5 mile final.
Point the nose downhill a little bit.
Then downwind, number 3, negative contact.
Okay. A little bit.
Tiger 02, make another left 360 for me so you don't have to extend so much.
Tiger 02, left 360.
You know, you're pretty good company for an unconscious person.
Right. Wish I had that Katana in sight.
Tiger 57, make short approach, runway 2, correction, 8 right, clear to land.
557, short approach, clear to land, runway 8 right.
Rolling 404 Golf, traffic south of Katana and a half-mile right base.
Roger, 4-4 Golf, still looking for that traffic. Okay, Beth, why don't you go ahead and put some flaps out. In fact, why don't you put all the flaps out at this point. In an emergency, I'm not sure whether or not you'd want to do that or not, but for today's flight, we'll do that. So flap panel's right here, push it all the way down. This will allow us to fly a little bit slower.
No delay to Alpha 4 and contact ground.
Tiger 25, right on 17, then ground.
Army 231, do you want to hit north?
Yes, please, for 231.
Army 231, roger, on course approved. And are you looking for flight following?
Negative flight following and proceed north, 231.
Army 231, roger, and squawk and maintain VFR, remain this frequency just a bit longer.
Squawk maintain VFR, stay your frequency for 231.
Pueblo Tower, Skyhawk 1745 Sierra, inbound, 1 time, full stop taxi back, information Victor.
Yep. 1745 Sierra, Pueblo Tower, enter a 3 mile left base for runway right.
Runway 8 right, correct? 1745 Sierra.
45 Sierra, affirmative, enter a 3 mile left base for runway 8 right.
There's the Katana on the runway.
8 right, 1745
Feels like we're lined up okay, right?
They're doing great.
Tiger 02, number 2, following Golden Eagle 1 mile final.
Tiger 02, number 2.
Yep.
Tiger 02,
Yep, just keep pointing the aircraft
57, turn right, runway
at the
17,
runway.
contact ground.
I'll tell you when to flare or rotate just a little bit to arrest the descent.
Army 231, squawk VFR.
Squawk VFR, 231.
Turn a little.
Yep. Very nice. Looks good. There you go. And we'll just gradually pull back ever so slightly to sort of arrest the descent. Kind of get to what looks like a level attitude. Just let the airplane land itself. There you go. Now bring the power to idle. Bring the throttles to idle.
What does that mean, down?
Yeah, down. Bring them to sort of the off position.
All the way?
Yep. There you go. And we're just kind of steer with our feet here a little bit if you want. course, that's not necessary in an emergency.
Hey, if this was an emergency, I just won.
Eagle 44 Golf, turn right Alpha 7 and contact ground point niner.
Right Alpha 7, ground point 9er, 44 Golf.
That wasn't so bad.
Great.
450, there's a tower at your 12 o'clock in about 3 mile, 6,306.
Understood, 450.
So if this really was a health event, I would still have an airplane to sell after we were all over and done with.
That's right.
Are you going to do a full stop taxi back or a touch and go?
I need a full stop taxi back, please, 450.
Yeah, 450, roger. Figure 54, Pueblo Tower, runway 8 left, taxi via Bravo 1, cross runway 8 right.
Okay, we'll dial in ground control there. Talk to ground. Pueblo ground, Golden Eagle, 1944 Golf off Alpha 7, taxi FBO Flower.
Golden Eagle, 1944 Golf, Pueblo ground, taxi Flower via Alpha Echo 3.
Was what Alpha 3?
Alpha Echo 3.
Alpha Echo 3 to Flower, 44 Golf. Okay, so we're taxiing to Alpha, we're taxiing to Flower via Alpha Echo 3. Got that up here on our moving map here. So you safely landed our airplane for the first time. How's it feel?
I safely landed any airplane for the first time.
That's true. I've let you fly before, and you've always been very good stick.
I like flying around the clouds, kind of tooling around up there. That's fun, but I do not like pointing the thing at the ground.
Right.
Horizon and up is my preferred pitch. But this wasn't so bad. The runway's big. There's time if you slow it down like we did. There was time to kind of think through and adjust.
These airplanes really land themselves very well. So there's Alpha. You see the yellow lettering on the black background, and then Echo 3 with the arrow. So that's black lettering on a yellow background. That tells us to turn left here. So Alpha to Echo 3. We're turning on to Echo 3 right now. Some 727s out here. Old freight aircraft. Wonder what they're doing.
Doesn't look so old. It looks like they're working.
Old.
Well, they might be old, but it looks like they're working.
Got a nice flagger here. Help guide us in.
I like it when they have flags. It's like somebody cared that they had the right equipment for the job.
Right.
They deserve flags. Line guys work hard.
You sure do.
Make our lives better, that's for sure. God bless linemen. Not that kind, Jenna.
Public on Tiger 52 on runway 17.
Nice Kinger there with their air stair door.
Tiger 52, Pueblo ground, Texas, Austin, Charlie 1, hold short.
Oh, that's nice. That's a Kinger 350i.
Dawson, hold short at runway 8 right.
Just what I was going to say.
That's a nice airplane.
There's that King Air 350i.
Flower FBO is a pretty cool place with all this vintage stuff here. They have good food that's free and some stuff for sale.